Manchester United 3, Arsenal 1. A massive victory for Manchester United, beating what were the undefeated Arsenal at Old Trafford. Stephen Howson, give me your thoughts on that game.
Well, did we not beat the champions? I thought that was how it was going. The team that's raced into 5 wins, which is almost unprecedented. I don't think any team has ever won 5 games before. The way people were acting about us. Like we said, they beat nobody. They've literally beat no one. And they were crowing already. Now, I thought they could easily beat us today, both in the game and also before the game, because confidence can take you a long way in a match, and they were playing with confidence. And I've absolutely shit all over Gabriel Jesus this year, but he was very good. He causes a lot of problems. But yeah, 3 points, 3-1 United. Happy days.
Interesting as well that you said they causes problems. I thought Jesus at times actually had the better of Varane, certainly the first half. But then there seemed to be a change second half where we sort of doubled up on Saka on one side, we doubled up on Martinelli on the other side, and all of a sudden, yes, they got the goal, but I thought they almost looked less dangerous in the second half, Arsenal, especially after we made those subs.
Yeah, I think they played their hand with going for it with their subs when actually they weren't necessarily having. They didn't need to. I didn't think they need to really double down on their efforts to go for it sometimes, because they was causing us problems and they were coping with what we were doing quite well the way they were set up, and sometimes it just relies a little bit of patience. I thought Arteta shown his inexperience as a manager a little bit there by not having the faith of his team to prize us open by continuing to do what they were doing. I think if he'd have been patient, he might have actually got a better result, but he went for it, which some people will go, oh, brilliant. Now, it's only brilliant if you actually get what you go for when you do that. And what he did was he left himself vulnerable at the back, and United played into that brilliantly. So I think if you was marking the managers today, Ten Hag played an absolute blinder. He saw what was happening, he adjusted, and he ended up coming away with a win. So in terms of the head-to-heads with Arteta, Ten Hag's coming out on top with that one, I think, on the back of that today.
Who impressed you in terms of the players? Obviously, Rashford, 2 goals and an assist. Anthony got a goal as well. I thought Eriksen was excellent in midfield, linking the two, the sort of the defence and the attack together. Well, who stood out for you?
I actually think, because I'm very critical of him all the time, you've got to be fair and balanced with it. And I think McTominay, I think playing alongside Eriksen has done a couple of things. You have to mark Eriksen. Because we saw some of the forward balls he was capable of today, and because McTominay's game has been simplified, and I reckon someone just grabbed him and gone, you win the ball, give it him. And he's gone, yeah, cool, all right. And I thought even at times we were seeing a bit more quality out of McTominay's play, because he was getting Eriksen, that is, was getting double marks. Bruno was getting double marks, because those are the creative outlets. It kind of allowed Scott McTominay to have the ball and be like, oh, I can pass it forward. Like, I'm allowed to do that as well. And I think at times that's what he was doing, because the opportunity presented itself. Whereas normally when it's him and Fred, he's the one that's relied upon to be able to pass the ball forward out of those two. And that's where I think it breaks down for him, being the guy that has to do it all the time. But if he wants to play it forward, maybe 1 in 4, 1 in 5, I think he can look quite capable of doing that.
Especially when he's got more space on the ball, like you said. Marcus Rashford, I've been saying this today, I don't know if you'll agree with me. I genuinely think that is Marcus Rashford at his best type performance, not because he was involved all the time or because he was, the main player linking up play, but I think people seem to forget Rashford is almost he's not involved until he's involved type of player. He's always been that. Like, his stats are almost better than his performances a lot of the times when he has a good season. And I think 2 goals and an assist and not really being involved that much is about as much as you tend to get out of Marcus Rashford. I thought he was excellent today by his standards. Do you agree with that?
I'm going to disagree. I think he's still not quite at his best. I think he's still got a long way to go to be back to his best. And 2 goals and an assist and not being at your best, I'm taking that all day long. Yeah. And if he has 2 goals and an assist every game and never actually puts in like an 8 or 9 out of 10 performance, I'll be delighted. But I thought at times he was quiet. He pressed in weird areas. I thought he still doesn't look certain of where and when to run at times, I don't think. And look, he had great feet for Anthony's goal. He got it out of his feet under pressure, laid it off nicely. He did really well for that. And I think he did really well in moments, but I think his overall play just isn't quite where you would want it to be to sort of I don't think he's justifying starting week in, week out just yet. I'm sure some of it looks confidence, and I'm sure that's took a big step forward on the back of today. I still think he looks a little bit way off. I think physically he looks sharp. I think mentally he's still not quite where we've seen him before. Because he's set himself a standard, I want to see him get back to that standard. I don't want to see him just be ordinary. I want to see him going back to that sort of 20-goal sort of season. That's the standard I hope Marcus is setting for himself, and that's the standard I want to see him achieve. I'm not sure he's a down-the-middle guy. I think against teams that play high line, yes, there's a definitely an argument to be made that that's a massive asset of his. But I want to see him be a well-rounded forward player, whether that's a left winger or whether that's down the middle. I think there's still elements of his game that I would like to see him improve on. But yeah, I'm certainly not going to bag on someone that scored 2 goals and got an assist today. I thought, if you don't have him, that you don't win the game.
Yeah, and I do think there is more to come from him, and I don't think he's quite back at his best, but I think he's one of those players that sometimes people look back on how he was minute by minute with rose-tinted glasses. I think he's always been someone that has outproduced his involvement in the game, if you know what I mean, in terms of goals and an assist. Anthony, goal on his debut. What did you think of his performance?
Yeah, I said on my live earlier, Brazil not necessarily being a nation known for football, he's probably the best Brazilian that's ever lived, I would have thought.
Yeah,
I mean, if anyone can come in the comments and let me know any other Brazilian that's even worth mentioning, I'm not sure there's been any. So I think we're on very solid ground, I think, saying best Brazilian footballer ever. There's
not been many, because they've never really done much in international level. And I can't think of any.
No, not really. And they've never really exported any players to Europe that have done anything.
Yeah.
You know, you're looking at like Macedonia, Brazil, Slovenia. These are the minnows that make up the whipping boys of all international tournaments.
Faroe Islands.
I would say they've had a gem there in Anthony. He's probably huge in Brazil on the back of the fact that 1, he plays for United, and 2, he's their best Brazilian player ever.
And what do you say, Steve, to the people that see what you just said there and think you're being serious? Because someone will.
The fucking first time, is it?
Just a quick point on Ten Hag. The way that
I'm allowed to have fun talking about football. I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, exactly. You're allowed to have fun. Don't worry. On Ten Hag, battered in the first 2 games. Some massive change in terms of effort and application. I don't quite know how he's done that so quickly. What do you make of these last 4 games, how he's managed to turn around what was sort of 6 to 9 months of lack of application, lack of effort, lack of clue by these players, and now we're looking like, if nothing else, hard-working team?
Sliding doors moment in a big way, potentially, of him making the players run on a day off. We haven't lost the game since. In fact, not only have we not lost the game, we've won every game since he made them run and joined them on a run on a Sunday after we got beat. And I think if it hadn't have had the same impact, if we'd have lost, it could have really started to unravel for him from that moment. If the players' response to that hadn't been as positive as it has been, and the media, there was a couple of the media, some of the shit red tops and that was starting to get people say, oh, why they had like sports scientists on going, oh, the players need their recovery and this, that, and the other. Fuck you, it's a mentality thing. It's a mentality and application thing. And if you can't run 13K the day after you've played a match as a professional footballer in August, you probably shouldn't be a professional footballer.
Yeah, like you said, it's not.
I think I put it down, not necessarily. I don't think, for anyone that's thinking, what, so they run 13K and now they're really good at football. No, but that is seemingly the only thing that changed from the first 2 games. Now, whether that was they ran 13K and he had a fucking absolute heart-to-heart with all the team and be like, listen, this can't continue, and there was some sort of attitude shift within the players based on everything that happened that weekend, that would make more sense. I don't think you can just go, we haven't won this weekend, should we do a run? And then you would win next weekend. I think there has to be a more involved approach to it. But if you had to pinpoint one thing, well, that's the one thing from the outside looking in. Obviously, I haven't been to training, I haven't seen the attitudes of the players. But I would have to say, I think Ten Hag has handled his transition to be a Manchester United manager phenomenally. He's demanded some players they look like they're pulling in the right direction for him. We've spent a lot of money on some of those players. There's some huge decisions he's made, including benching the club captain, which has proved to be an absolute masterstroke and entirely justified. He's benched Cristiano Ronaldo and seemingly not got Cristiano Ronaldo crying every single day through every single outlet that he could talk to. Those things could have absolutely backfired for him, and they haven't. And so could the run. Judging by the way these players reacted to training in the dark in the winter last year, like, I think that making them run could have had an absolute devastating effect on the squad if the attitude wasn't right. But he judged that correctly. Whatever the conversations he's had with Maguire and Ronaldo and others that have been dropped, I think he's handling it brilliantly. And for the first 15, 20 minutes today, I saw some of the best football I've seen United play in a long, long time. And that's one of the warming things about today, actually, is that the game didn't go our way entirely. And there were times we were troubled. And Gabriel Jesus did have Varane on strings at times. And we overcame all of that. So there's a mental toughness and a resilience to the way the team reacted to the trouble we were in at times. We fought through it. We fought for each other. We managed to get the victory. And I think there's loads and loads of positive signs. I'm sitting here saying that title charge is on. But I think we look good. And I think the progress looks like it's there. I only want to see us finish in the top 4 this year. That's the minimum expectation that I'm putting on us. And I think it'll still be tough. But that's the minimum expectation I want to put on us, is to finish inside the top 4. You can't start talking about a title challenge until you're not 6th, right? As it stands, we're 6th. You have to improve upon that, and then you can start talking about getting to the next stage. Get back into the Champions League, and then start thinking about the next stage. So, he might be the man to deliver a title, but we're at least a couple of years off knowing about that yet. So all you can say is 6 games in, we got rocked in a couple of games. A couple of things weren't right, but he fixed them. And we've come out absolutely swinging. And I love that.
Yeah, brilliant. Right, thank you very much for joining us, Steve. The signal wasn't great at times there, but everything you said was heard. So thank you very much for coming on. Hit subscribe if you haven't already to Stretford Paddock. Hit the notification bell as well, so you see when we go live, when our videos come out first. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you in a bit.